buy a house, have children, work harder. I already had this by your age.
We Millennials and Gen Z are living the hardest times to be financially independent.
Alphabet is laying off employees.
As inflation ticked up last month at a higher than expected rate.
The typical U.S. home sold for a record-shattering $468,000.
No, it's rough. Yeah, we can't find anything here.
Are we truly doomed to an endless cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, renting forever, and not being financially happy or free? Even though we are living in harsh conditions, we have the greatest opportunities ever provided to a generation. We will talk about how personal finance can change your life. Simple terms like saving, planning, budgeting, and investing can change you from being an unmotivated working machine to someone that is living with purpose and targeting freedom. First, we must acknowledge our current situation. Yes, things are way more expensive than they were before, and house prices have increased at higher rates than our salaries. Are we going to get richer by complaining about this, or are we going to get richer by being proactive and doing something about it? So what do we do? Where do we start? It doesn't matter how old you are, even if you are not a millennial or a Gen Z, or how long have you been working for. The first thing you need to do is think, what do you want?
What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
What is your objective and when will you like to attain it?
Dreams will not make me rich, Sergio.
Yes, they won't. But having a goal, a dream that you are looking for, will make you rich if you start having baby steps toward it. So I plan to go beyond the typical advice. Saving 6 months of income, stop wasting money on Starbucks coffee, work harder. We need to tackle the personal finance task by first thinking about our objectives. For example, let's talk about Alex. He studied business administration, he's passionate about baseball, and he loves to travel. So we would ask him, if you had all the money in the world, what would your life look like? Alex responds that he would love to have a business in the baseball industry, selling things for people that play, learn, and teach the sport that he loves so much. He will also like to spend more time with his family, and he will love to travel at least twice a year outside the United States. We now know his passions: business, baseball, traveling. We also know his objectives: owning a business, having more family time, and traveling. Now we have to find the time horizon he would like to work in order to achieve this dream life. We ask Alex, how much money do you need to start your business and how long do you think it will take you to attain it? He responds that he will need about $100,000 in 10 years, and the cost of living his dream life would be around $150,000 every year. Now we know his passions, his goals, the time horizon, and the amount of money needed to fulfill his dream. Only now we can start thinking about budgeting, saving, and investing. So the first thing is to budget. Every business knows every single transaction of money coming in and going out, and people should do the exact same thing if they want to achieve financial independence. So you can use an app like Every Dollar or a free template with a spreadsheet in order to control your finances. So what you're going to do is plan the next month. What income will I receive and what expenses would I have? Realistically think how much money will come in, how much money will go out. After doing that, you will have two scenarios. First, you barely have any money left to save and invest. Don't worry, everybody's situation is different. So what can you do in this situation? First, you can start a side hustle that is related with your passion and that later on can be part of the business in case it is your objective. Or also you can cut some expenses that you think are not as important as your final goal. Finally, let's assume Alex speaks another language and he can travel to another country that has a lower cost of living, but it doesn't hurt his quality of life, and he's willing to do that without hurting his objectives, his relationships, and other variables. Then he can move to another country if he finds it logical for his own scenario. Then we have the other scenario. You do have some money left over for savings and investments. So what do you do? Typically, the normal advice would be to save 6 months of expenses or even 6 months of income to have a safety net. It is pretty logical and it's pretty smart for you to do that in case you are fired or you are not able to actively work for money because of any unseen event. All that money that you have left over, you can put it into two things normally, depending on your risk profile and preferences. You can have a high yield savings account or you can invest in government issued short-term bonds, preferably if you have them with variable interest rates, in order to have the safest investment out there. Now, if you achieve that baby step, you can start thinking about investing. What is investing? Investing is allocating money into things that that hopefully will give you financial benefit in the future in form of capital gains like in stocks or also as interest or dividends. Again, depending on your risk profile, your objectives and your preferences, you have a broad array of options to invest. You have stocks, ETFs, bonds, commodities, small businesses, and even your own business. You can invest your money. So coming back to Alex, he needs 100K in order to achieve his goal in 10 years. So what kind of portfolio does he need to look for in order to achieve this goal? Let's say he's able to invest every month $500 into his portfolio for the next 10 years. That will be 120 months. Then the return he will be looking for using this beautiful calculator, Alex would like to invest $500 every month in order to have $100,000 in the future in 120 months. So the interest rate he will need is about 79% every month. Now we're going to transform it into year, which will be 10% return on average every year. Now we know that he needs a 10% yearly return on average for the 10-year period. He needs to find a portfolio that has this return on average. We know that the S&P 500 has on average 8 to 10% return, but it doesn't mean that that past performance will translate into the same future performance, because we never know if the next 10 years will be negative. So he must manage his risk profile, his preferences in order to achieve that average return every year. Remember, budget, save, and invest. 3 magic words that will change your life. This process is not static. If your dreams change, your goals change, you want more or less, you can always adapt this same process to that new scenario that we would like to achieve. It is not impossible for our generations to be happy and financially independent. We have unfair advantages compared to previous generations. We have the internet, where we can learn things almost for free on any topic, and also we can sell things to people all around the world. Our grandparents will even imagine being able to sell to as many people as we can today, and also they would have to go to the library and find if there is even a book available on the things that they want to learn. But let's say tomorrow you want to learn about AI models, boom, you have a book in the internet that can help you educate yourself towards that goal. So why is this method more meaningful for our generations? I wanted to go beyond the typical budgeting, saving, and investing framework. I want us to think more deeply on what we want, because many people think they need to be billionaires to be happy or have the dream life, but in reality they want to live a life that requires much less money. If you want to buy 100 Bugattis, a yacht, and a super mansion, this video is not for that type of profile. But if you want to live a life where you do things that you are passionate about, you want to be financially independent and free, which means that you do not have to work every day to live, then you need to think about what you truly want. Because sometimes the life that you would have if you had all the money in the world would require $150,000 every year or less, depending on your personal preferences. You need to have the goal of a life you will love to relive if you had that opportunity. We are the first generations in history that with proper planning and hard work will be able to achieve a wealthy and happy life. I hope you liked the 4th video of our series about finance and economics in 52 weeks. Talking about finance and economics has to become a normal thing with our friends and family in order to help each other achieve our dreams. Personal finance without investing is almost impossible. That's why you need to understand the most important variable in investing, which is the interest rate. If you want to learn why interest rates are so important to you, click here to find more. See you all in the next one. Ciao, ciao.